it's very common for people to think that they have all the time in the world, that that thing that they always wanted to do, they can push it later down the road. They can do it in a couple years, maybe they're in their 20s, they can do it in their 30s or their 40s. They think, oh man, I'm only 23, I'm only in my 20s. Man, I got, all this time later down the road to do things I want to do. But what ends up happening is you see these people in your regular day-to-day life. Whether, they're 40, 50, 60 even. They're in these decades, phases of their life. And the things that they said that they would do maybe in their 30s or their 40s, they didn't really do. They didn't really travel to that country they always wanted to go to. They never experienced, the new food, something. Maybe they wanted to go eat some pasta and some wine in real Italy. And they never were able to do it. They never got around to it. And so it just got me thinking, like, honestly, would I regret living my entire life? Because, obviously, we don't know our expiration date. I don't know if I got another 60 years left or another 60 minutes. It's like, it it's just the way it is, and it's kind of what keeps that aspect of feeling alive, knowing that, whether people admit it or not, not every day is guaranteed, right? There's no 100% guarantee that you're going to wake up tomorrow. That's just reality. Okay, sure, there's a 99.99% chance, but there's always that slight, little chance that you won't. So it got me thinking, what if I died in 10 years? Think of yourself, if you died in exactly 10 years, what would you regret not doing? What would I regret not doing? Okay. And you hear it. I've heard people say it before, how, if you died tomorrow, what would you regret not doing? And I don't know, people just come up with random stuff, maybe it's travel or, blow all their savings or something like that. Okay. It's not too thoughtful. And then, you might think, like, okay, if I died in 6 months, just imagine in 6 months, what would I do? Okay, a lot of people would actually have time to blow their savings, blow their retirement. And they obviously, if I had 6 months, I probably wouldn't work. I'd run up a ton of loans, get in a ton of debt, right? You only got 6 months. But when you think on a 10-year horizon, 10 years is a long time, but you're not going to be quitting your job tomorrow because you're going to expire in 10 years. Okay? At least if you're still in your 20s, like you don't have no retirement or things like that. Like, I would still go to my job. I would still put investment money to the side, because although, I hypothetically know that in 10 years I'm gone, at least I would have something to leave for my family. Like 6 months, it's a cram time. So you would just, man, I'm taking everything out. I'm blowing every single dollar. Versus like a 10-year span, it's like, man, I got time to just throw a little bit extra money, let it compound, for 10, 20, 30 years, and then let my family, the ones after me, carry on that. And just keep letting it grow even, for the next generation, a generation after that, 40, 50, 60 years down the line, right? Something I wish I would have had, right? Family left me nothing. I've literally gotten nothing in my life. And that's not saying, I'm ungrateful or anything, right? My mom raised me pretty good, and I had what I needed, right? But it's not like she was left any inheritance or anything like that, right? So it's just something that I'd want to do. So when we think about it, you got 10 years, okay? It's not, oh yeah, maybe in a few years I can kind of get around to this thing, and then in 5, 10 years get around to that. Like, no, you only have 10 years. Like, you start with year number 1 this year. Okay. And I think the biggest regret I would have is just simply just not going for the things that I want, right? Either it's living on someone else's terms, living a miserable time, just doing whatever somebody says or anything, whether it's a boss that I hate, it's home life, right? I have a girl that's, you see it all the time with people. I mean, I got guys at work, oh, the old lady. And I remember this one guy, he was like, he didn't want to take his vacation time because he was like, oh yeah, the old lady at home gonna make me work on the kitchen. So I'm basically gonna be at work while I'm away from work. And he was like, yeah, he didn't want to take vacation or whatever. But I mean, that just goes to show how important a partner is, right? And that's something. It's not going for things that I want. If I'm battling either with a partner or a boss, friends, family, anybody, like if it's something that I want to do, well, then I don't want somebody around me that's basically on the opposite end of that. If I want to get a bike and I have a family member that just constant negativity, doesn't even wish for me to do good, like prays that I don't get into an accident, nothing like that, just tells me everything wrong and everything bad, everything negative, that's not something that I would want, right? And then if I let their words get in my head and then I don't get the bike because of what they said, what they put their beliefs on, oh man, it's dangerous, this, and that. Like, I mean, that's the whole point of living life, like, of course it's dangerous. Everything is dangerous. Everything's a risk. Everything is a risk in life. When you walk outside, you don't know who's going to be outside. So when you get in your car, you go to work, you don't know what can happen on your way to work. Like everything is a risk. And so I refuse to have somebody that's close to me in my life or just anybody not allow me to do things that I want. Okay. And so if I got 10 years, I'm really going to regret. Main thing is just not fulfilling my purpose, not leaving an impact on this world, and I kind of think of it as, I talk to my younger self. I talk to me at 18, 19-year-old Kaz, like, this is what I need to hear. And what a son should hear, right? I wish I would have had game from my father, had he been in my life to actually give me game on how, this whole life thing works, especially as a man, because it's totally different. You can't expect, my mom to tell me how it is as a man because she only sees it through her lens. There's two different lenses with guys and chicks, so it's two separate alleys. Okay. And me not being able to leave an impact would, I mean, what was the whole point of my existence almost, right? So I have 10 years to really put a nail in the ground to make an impact on either my kid's life or somebody younger than me, whether it's in the family, friend, someone random in the freaking world. If I can't do that, man, I just feel like it's a failure almost. And I mean, leaning into that, I probably would regret not having kids within this 10-year span, right? Because I think that's the whole thing of why I'm even grinding now, because honestly, I could duck off. I could probably only save up like, let's just say 500K, go to a cheap little country and just live as a, digital nomad and stuff like that. Like you see people do that all the time on the internet, but I have bigger goals to actually have a family and have kids and things like that, because I could probably be done working in 5-7 years. If I'm being real, I could save hardcore, move to a cheap, Thailand, Colombia, whatever, and I'd be fine. But my whole purpose, my whole goals is just raising a family, and be able to have a kid and just pass on wisdom that I never received, right? It's hard not having like that father figure in your life. And it's all I ever wanted, really. And I just want to pass it down to my offspring, and even if I won't be there for my entire kid's life, because I'm only going to be here for 10 more years, at least I would have something, let's just say these videos, to actually leave an impact on. So it's something you would go back to. I would have this basically as like a book form. Have a book, have a pamphlet, have something, videos, archives. It don't matter. Like anything to leave an impact. So when I'm gone, it still carries on. The book Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, this dude's been dead for how many years, right? Centuries. And he still leaves an impact to this day, for a lot of guys, right? The whole stoicism thing, okay? And then I think about what am I waiting on to actually kind of experience life? Meaning, I kind of got in the realm of like, let me just grind for another, basically another 7 years, the rest of my 20s, and then I can experience life. And then I can go and do things, but I mean, granted, when you're 30, you're not old, but at the same time, it's like I could still have fun and still enjoy my life in my 20s on a budget, right? And I would definitely regret not not traveling the world, really. I mean, the world is such a beautiful place. There's so many beautiful cultures. I honestly love talking to immigrants the most. That those are like the one people, like, especially when I drop off for like loads and everything at work. I like talking to the immigrants. Like I met a dude, he was from Vietnam, and oh my God, I was talking to this dude for like half hour, 45 minutes at times, like multiple times. I dropped off to him, and I might see him maybe once every 2-3 weeks or whatever. But man, I was always talking to this dude because I don't know. It just seems like obviously right now in America, times is hard. You know, it is rough. Obviously, I see that, but it could be so much worse, man. It could be so much worse. Like people around the country, around America, don't understand. We got it good compared to everybody else living in the world, especially in these third world countries where you got dictators and everything like that, and they don't really care about the people, and they're not getting as good as service and treatment as we're getting in America. Like it really puts it into perspective, especially when you talk to immigrants, especially when you talk to them, because it's like they appreciate they appreciate the little things, and they're just so happy just to be there. And that's what I truly love about them. And so just not traveling the world and just experiencing all different kinds of cultures and everything like that, even if it's starting small, right? Even if I'm starting with no money, travel in the country. Okay, I would regret not being able to travel all 50 states knowing that I can just drive a car and hit all the states here, right? I mean, I would want to do that on a bike. Like that is something I always wanted to do. Just travel the country, visit like because there's so much like nature is so beautiful, really. Like there's so many mountains and waterfalls and just like oceans, everything, everything nature has to offer, man. In this country, just in America alone, I want to do that on a bike. I want to go on a trip, likely solo. If I have somebody to go with me, cool. But I plan. I'm not relying on someone basically. So let's just say I'm doing a solo trip. I would do a solo trip around the country. Like it's something I've always wanted to do. And me getting my bike, I'm literally getting it soon, like real soon. And I can just travel around my state. I got mountains probably like 3 hours away from me. I can literally just do that. I can travel and go experience that because that nature here is beautiful as well, and it's a start. And I put it in there too. I kind of made a list, you know, um, like some people call it like a bucket list or whatever, but like honestly, like this would be real big regrets if seriously if I died in 10 years, and it's just not doing like skydiving, anything like I kind of am like an adrenaline junkie type guy, not on the dumb end, like not on, I'm not trying to hang off a bridge or something with no harness or whatever. Like, those guys that go to like skyscrapers and climb on like telephone poles and like, no, I don't like doing that. But like skydiving where it's reasonable and it's safe and it's, smart. Yeah, okay, I could do something like that. But that's something, truthfully, too. And then I think a little deeper. What would I regret? You know, if I only had 10 years, if I died in 10 years. And it's honestly just not allowing myself to be happy. Okay, because I've gotten I've gotten wrapped around this whole hustle culture that goes on in America. Everybody knows it. That is basically okay, and self improvement, the whole that thing too, to where you basically can't enjoy life. You have to hate your life basically until you check off all these boxes: money, status, physique, all this stuff. And that stuff doesn't happen overnight, you know? So what, I got to grind for 5 years and hate my life the whole time, you know, like, and I'm starting to change my perspective now as I'm shifting more towards leaning into my purpose, leaning into the things that I like to do and passions and fulfillment and everything like that. But not going down this road of fulfillment and purpose, you know, and not letting myself be happy. Like, what is so wrong in enjoying, you know, because life is of course a struggle and it's gonna have ups and downs, and anything good comes from being uncomfortable. And that's just the truth. But there can always be moments of happiness in it, truthfully. And that's truthfully what I chase, you know, like what's the point in just hating everything? Like, you might as well just shorten the 10 years down to 10 minutes if that's what I got to do. Okay. If that's how I got to live. And I refuse to live like that. And also another thing that a main factor I would regret is honestly just letting fear guide me. You know, not taking certain risk because of fear, you know, fear of failing or fear of judgment, what someone might say, or just the fear of rejection, you know. Like, honestly, even now I kind of regret just, you know, not even just talking to like chicks, like straight up just going up and just starting a conversation like in person. It's a whole different thing versus like doing it online. And then I think back in high school too, like I wasn't even like an online guy either. Like the chicks I talked to, it was all in school and everything like that. Like, I think I regret now. I think it is kind of a fear of rejection I'm having, and I want to tap into that, you know, to get rejected, to be judged, to fail, right? Lean into things like that. And I just don't want fear to stop me on doing something, of failing, getting judged, or getting rejected. And that is a big thing in my life that I'm looking to conquer, really. And you know, I mean, it's hard too, just because that feeling sucks. Everybody knows that feeling of getting rejected. I remember getting rejected in the past. That feeling sucks, you know. But I guess at the end of the day, it is just a numbers game. And worst case scenario, the worst they can say is no. I mean, you just started basically right where you're at. You know, you weren't gonna know them anyways if you just walked by them. Versus asking them saying no. I mean, same outcome. So yeah, I mean, that one's pretty deep, if I'm being real. But that is a big regret. And I wrote, you know, a couple other things too. Like, of course, not having kids, I think would be my big thing. Even though I wouldn't be able to raise them in a sense, I would hope I have a big enough impact, whether it's books, brochures, videos, like literally anything, just to leave an impact, leave a foundation. And of course, I want to visit all the states, do all the football stadiums. I'm a big football guy. I'm a big Cleveland Browns fan, sadly. And I'd love to just go visit all the stadiums, you know. And I haven't even, you got to think there's 32 teams and there's really only 18 games in a season. Okay. And the way they work, it's not like baseball or basketball where everybody plays each other eventually in a year. Okay. It's, sometimes they won't play a team for 2, 3 years. And then if they do, it might be home. So then you got to wait another 2, 3 years for it to be an away game to actually go see it or something like that. And it's something that I feel like I could start doing. Not this year, but definitely 2026. I'm putting it on my accomplished list. Man, when I make this list, man, it's gonna be fire, and I can't wait to make a video on that. But on my accomplished, like small accomplishments like this, like visiting one football stadium, but I want to go see them all. On top of that, I want to run multiple marathons. I think a cool goal would have one marathon a year. Right now, I'm training for marathon in May of 2026. Okay, it's October. I got 7 months, and I ran a half marathon in May this year. So May next year, I'm going to do the full marathon. And why can't I kind of want to do one a year, as well as those fun runs, those like lifting runs. We got like Spartan runs or mud runs. I want to do stuff like that, man. And you know what? I want to just try new things. Try new things. I never been like a big like fishing guy or a hunting guy, but I want to try that. I want to get into it. And it kind of sucks because it seems like people know people in order to get into that, right? They have friends that are into it, but I want to be able to just start on my own. Screw it, I'm gonna do it by myself. I'll probably fail. It's probably gonna be a harder learning curve, but screw it, I'll fail by myself, and I'll do it. I want to learn how to fly a plane. Those little small planes where you got like 1, 2 people, those don't take that long to really get certified. I've seen it, and bro, that would be so sweet, flying a plane. And I think the last thing is just tapping into all my feelings, like all the emotions, basically. Because like I was saying, kind of like the fear of like rejection or judgment or failing. That feeling of like embarrassment can also click too. Like like willingly get embarrassed, like do like a 5 minute stand up at some comedy show or something, right? One, I'm not like a crowd person, like an extrovert like that, and two, I ain't got no jokes either. So it's like, oh shoot, right? Like I'd come prepared, but man, that would just be so embarrassing that I just want to do it. And I think I know a guy that would do it with me too, but it's like, man, screw it. At the end of the day, like all of it doesn't matter, like it's damn if you do, damn if you don't. If you do something you want to do, like people are going to say something about it. And if you do something that you don't want to do, people are going to still say something. They're still going to talk trash about it. So regardless, at the end of the day, just do what you want to do. Think about it, if you only had 10 years to live, man. That's it. 10 years and you're done. You're done with this experience of life. What are you going to regret most? Who in your life are you going to regret not leaving an impact on, not helping the most? It's bigger than yourself. And I truly feel like it is bigger than me. I feel like I can help more people than just myself. I'm not a selfish dude. And I think there's more reward at the end of the day. It's more self-fulfilling helping other people, Like seriously, think about it. Obviously, 10 years is a long time compared to a 6 months or a tomorrow if you had died, right? Because you can't just quit your job and live off of whatever for the next 10 years. You still got to go to work tomorrow. But what's going to change? What are you going to do now that, you can't wait 10 years. You can't wait another decade to then start trying things. Like, no, you only got 10 years now. You got to start trying things now. Start setting up a plan. And I realized if we do that, even if we take our lifetime, like come up with like a bucket list or something like that. Like if you take like your lifetime bucket list, something you want to do before you die, and literally just cram it into 10 years, like, all right, let me just pretend 10 years, I'm done. In 10 years, man, Imagine how many more things you could get done, even if it's not everything, even if it's only like 90% of it. That's way more than had you put a whole timeline on the rest of your life. Maybe it might only be 40%, 30% of the actual things that you put on that bucket list because you think you got forever. But we see it. I mean, tomorrow's not promised. And we don't know if we're going to live past 50 or 60 at the end of the day, man. So think about it like that. And I'm going to leave off on that.